It's time for our stream team. We are talking about guns on college campuses. In Texas, the legislature is moving closer to approving a new law that would allow students and teachers to carry concealed weapons. Right now, that is only allowed in Utah and Colorado. But in Texas, it means 500,000 students could soon begin packing heat along with their history books. Every day, we invite wonderfully opinionated people with different backgrounds and specialties to weigh in on our topic of the day. So with us today is Rachel Sklar, radio host, Ben Ferguson, and author Nick Ragone, who you saw earlier. He's back with us. And Rachel, let me start with you. What do you think of the idea of Texas allowing students to carry guns?
Let me start off by saying that I'm from Canada, so the whole Second Amendment culture is already something for me to get used to. But I can't see how any student would feel safer knowing that students around them might have guns with them. I think that if the issue is wanting to make college campuses safer, and if we must be permitting guns, then there should at the very least be unconcealed handguns, and there should be, everybody should know who has a gun, and there should be a very high threshold before you are permitted to carry a gun.
All right, so Rachel, okay, we got it. Rachel, you're opposed to it. Let me give Ben a chance because we're going to run out of time, and I want to get a lot of talk about this. Ben, what do you think?
Look, you've had 231 innocent people die in school shootings since 1966, where the Texas massacre, where this all started. I've personally been a victim of gun crime. I've had a gun put to my head. I've had someone shoot at me. And if I didn't have a permit to carry and didn't have a gun with me that day when it was a gang initiation, I wouldn't be sitting here today. So you can always be fearful of the gun and assume that, well, it could make the problem worse. I'm living proof that it can actually make the problem go away by protecting yourself. And when you see these massacres that happen in Virginia Tech, when you see what happens in Texas or all these other schools where 231 people have died, guess what? Less than 10% of those shooters were ever stopped by the police or law enforcement with a gun. At that point, they either fled or they turned the gun on themselves after they accomplished their mission, which was to kill people. So yes, in Utah and in Texas, these people are going to class. They obviously want to have a better life, and they want to protect themselves while they're doing it. I don't have a problem with it.
All right, Ben, obviously your opinions are backed up by a very strong personal situation you went through. Nick, your thoughts here?
Well, look, I'm an advocate for the Second Amendment, but I agree with Rachel on this. I think the idea of mixing the stress of college life and tests and social circles with, obviously the drinking and occasional drug use that goes on in college, with then carrying concealed guns just seems like an awful, awful recipe. I mean, it sounds like a terrible idea. And I agree with Rachel as well. I think there's other ways to make campuses safe. I mean, through having stronger social services, intervening when it looks like students are troubled or struggling, but just carrying a concealed weapon on a college environment does not sound like a recipe for success.
Go ahead, Ben. But I will say this, Ben.
With all due respect,
the one thing I will point out is that college campuses are notorious for wild behavior. We know about the problems of binge drinking. We do know about the problems of drug abuse.
Not in the classroom. You're talking about extracurricular activities after school at 11, 12, 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I mean, you could say the same thing that you could claim there's violence with adults or young adults with domestic abuse, but it usually doesn't happen at work or in the middle of the day in front of their kids. So, I mean, look at Utah. Has there been a school shooting since they allowed kids to take guns to school after they got a permit? The answer is unequivocally no. It didn't happen there, and it's not going to happen probably in Texas, and you're certainly not going to have a massacre because of this.
It's statistically valid, that particular example. I think that,
it's the one place where we have it.
Hold on, Ben. Hold on. Let Rachel speak to that. Well, Ben, let me ask you this, because we do know that you're obviously quite strong in this. You mentioned that the kids aren't going to have it, or they'll have the guns apparently, in the classroom, but they won't take them when they go partying? Am I supposed to believe that?
Let me say this. If they're going to take the guns when they go partying, they're the same kids you're talking about around this country that would have a permit to carry. I mean, you can't have it both ways here. If you have a permit to carry, how often does a person that has a permit to carry go out and party or do drugs and kill people? Trust me, we'd hear about it every time it happens, and guess what? It doesn't happen. Crazy people, however, do get a gun, and crazy people get guns without going to get a permit.
I'm just going to go on a limb and say that without actually statistics at my fingertips.
All right, you know what? We're going to have to we're going to have to end it there. I have to thank all three because we're just about running out of time. It's a subject, gun control is one that always brings up a lot of discussion, and we never have enough time. Thanks to all three of my panel members for talking about it today.